Yeah, it was a good time, honey, under the sky. Yeah, it was a good time, honey, just you and I. Feeling alright.
Yo, welcome to All Wheels Podcast. This is Evan. I'm here with Max.
Yo.
And Brady will be here soon.
Yeah.
So, right now you got the Evan and Max show.
It's the Evan and Max show.
Yeah, so Brady's on his way back from work, I think, so he'll join us soon, but we're going to kick this off. And okay, while we have Brady gone, what's all the cool stuff we can talk about that he won't let us talk about? Hurry.
Let's talk all about BMWs.
Yeah, let's only talk about BMWs.
Yeah.
And what else did he get mad at us about? We talked too long about Major League, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's
He
right.
told us to stop. Okay.
This episode is going to be all about Top Gun 1 and Top Gun 2.
So welcome to the Evan and Max show, where all we talk about is 80s movies and BMW airheads.
I don't think there's anything else. Maybe you could throw in a little dash of like Camaros or...
Yeah, I mean,
You
maybe
know.
some Camaros and Fox Body Mustangs.
That's right. Ooh, that's a good one.
So we'll get away with this for as long as we can. Then Brady
Yeah.
will show up and yell.
He's going to come rushing in and get us right back on
You
track.
guys are not allowed to talk about that.
Totally.
Speaking of 80s movies, while we have control,
Yeah.
how rad was the new Top Gun?
Oh my gosh. It is as good. If anybody's listening, just go see
go
it.
see
If you need a refresh, they've got the first one on Netflix, but
Nice.
man, the second one just delivered 1,000%.
It was epic. Oh my
Absolutely
God, it was rad.
epic.
They nailed everything. And it was cool because I didn't really do any research about it going into it, so I didn't know what to expect. I actually didn't realize Tom Cruise was in the whole thing. For some reason, I thought it was just like, he was in the first 10 minutes or something, which maybe was stupid, but I was happy to see Tom Cruise in the whole thing, which I assume
Yeah.
everybody else knows.
He's 60 years old. He looks
Right.
like he's 38.
I know. What the hell? I just don't understand.
Yeah.
How do I look so bad for 39 and that guy's like 60?
You're 38 and you look 60.
Dude. Oh my God. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what's her name? The bartender chick,
my
his girlfriend,
gosh.
smoking hot.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, like
oh my
damn, the
gosh.
whole thing was rad.
Yeah.
And then they even pulled in they're flying like newer planes, but they have a F-14 Tomcat in it again,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
super
spoiler
badass.
alert. Spoiler alert.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not giving any details. I'm just saying like they
Just-
brought back the old Haas, man. That plane was
That's it.
rad.
Yeah, it's totally brought back the Haas.
Yeah, it was super cool. And then doesn't it seem like they kind of set it up for like sequels now with like the new people in it?
Yeah, they could certainly
could
carry
be.
it forward now. Yeah.
So
I agree.
that was pretty rad. Oh, man, there
busted.
goes,
Now
there
here we
goes
go.
Top
Darn
Gun.
it.
You.
Let's
Oh, there
hear
it is.
there.
Nice. Nailed it.
Oh,
the Max and Evan
goodness.
show is
Damn,
over.
and that is the end of the Max and Evan show.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing?
You just missed out on 2 minutes and 50 seconds of talking about Top Gun and BMW airheads.
Oh. Well, actually, the babe and I, we were going to see that. We were going to see Top Gun last Sunday.
Yeah.
But we, I don't remember what it was. We didn't want to get out of the house. But I am excited to see it.
It's
Okay,
really
you
good.
need to see it. It's super
Mhm.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was excellent.
Well, sorry guys.
No worries.
I rushed as quick as I could.
You made pretty good time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we were just wrapping it up. You guys, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, and
Appreciate
thanks a
y'all.
lot for joining.
See you next week. We're going to talk about Iron Eagle.
Yeah, we'll be back with Iron Eagle and BMW GSs.
Hot ticket to Hawaii and a GS 1100.
Dude, it's hard ticket to Hawaii.
Hard. What did I say? Hot?
He said hot ticket.
I meant
All right. Well, it sounds like it came in perfect timing to get us on track.
You did.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
walked in just in time
Yeah.
to salvage this.
I'm really excited for this episode because this is one of those. I think we might be going at this
All
idea
different.
from all different, but
Yeah.
the way that I feel like so the name of this is called One Bike to Rule Them All.
Which,
And it
yeah, I think
is-
that's a great title, by the way.
it
I just
is-
saw that.
It is like, as long as I have been riding, I have come up against this conversation of, well, I just want one bike. What's the one bike?
Yeah.
What's the one bike that will do it all? And
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it has been, argued on either side. It has been, it's just been it's a great topic. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I see this going in, like, it can go in very many different directions. Very many.
Yeah.
Very many.
It can go in very different directions. I still don't know where I land, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know where I land, but I feel
Yeah.
like my answer's kind of boring. So, but
I really looked into this, like, mentally.
Yeah.
Zero research, because I tried to. I was like, what the hell? And maybe you guys talked about this already, but what the hell is a do-all motorcycle? Like, what is it even trying to do? That was what I couldn't quite figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just what I think part of the conversation is, what do you want to do in your life as a motorcyclist? Like,
Absolutely.
if you want to, ride down the one to Alice's restaurant and get a burger and a Coke,
Mhm.
do you want to, be like Ewan McGregor and ride through Mongolia? Do you want to jump dirt bikes? Like, motorcycling is so it's such a wide open area.
Yeah, typically from manufacturers, very specific to one area.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing that now bikes are so specific to their task that, like, they're really excellent at whatever they're designed for, but they're almost too specific, right? Do you think so?
I feel like we are going to solve that problem.
I don't
Yeah,
think we're going to
tonight.
solve it.
Yeah. I think we're
I
going
don't
to
think-
touch on it anyway.
I don't think we're going to solve it.
Yeah. Well, I think we all agree the one bike in general to rule them all doesn't exist. No matter building it or,
Yes.
but it comes
I
down
agree
to
with that.
your, like, personal, like, Max, what you were saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Your personal needs are what you want from that bike. I think in many ways that can
Well,
exist.
wait, it only doesn't exist now because of the current, like, landscape of bikes available, because they are so specific to a particular type of
I
riding.
Well, I
see
think
where
there
you're
are-
So
going.
go back,
Yeah.
think about this. Every time I watch on any Sunday and you see Steve McQueen ripping around
Mhm.
on, like, an old Triumph in the middle of the sand dunes and shit. And then you're thinking, like, okay, back then, yeah, one bike did exist to rule them
Yeah.
all, because you
It was a
basically had
motorcycle.
a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So you did whatever. You rode it across the country. You rode it on the beach. You did wheelies with it. You got groceries on it. You did everything.
And you took it out on the weekend and raced around the dirt circle.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
back then, like, did it exist? Absolutely. Now, the problem is we're just too freaking spoiled now with really good and specific motorcycles
Mhm.
that we
do their
feel
job
like
really
it doesn't
well.
exist.
Yeah.
But it's total BS. You can do anything on anything. Like, Max, you said earlier tonight, our friend Chantil rode her Triumph 900 like across the country or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
California
can
to
you
New
do
York.
anything on any motorcycle? Yeah, of course. People ride XR 650s down to the southern tip of
Mhm.
South America. Like, of course you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to?
Yeah,
No,
that's-
but-
My friend Steve Gowing, I think when he was like 14 or 15, he ran away from home and he took off on his 2-stroke 250 and rode all the way to Missouri.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
It's awesome.
From where?
From here. He grew up here.
Oh, he grew up here. Steve rode from here to Missouri.
He rode on a 2-stroke 250.
Damn, that's dedication
I
right
know.
there.
Yeah, he must have been really pissed.
That is
Yeah.
badass.
That's
Yeah.
pretty rad.
Yeah, that's one of the stories I want to have when we get Chantel on here, is to talk about. It was so fun because when she came, I don't want to get too much, but when she drove by, when she came by here on the way, the Triumph, it was a 900 SE, so it wasn't even like the T100.
Yeah.
It's got the little wheels and it's the smaller, and the bags that they had like lashed and tried to make work were just hanging on. I was like so impressed that she had got all this stuff and then went to New York.
But that's a perfect example. You can do anything.
Yep. That's
We're
it.
literally too spoiled by thinking, oh, I have to have this specific kind of bike to do that specific kind of
Yeah.
riding. And that's absolutely not true. But am I saying it's a bad thing? We have all these options? Not at all. I'm just saying we're too used to it. So it feels like it. Well, what do you want to, okay. how should we do this? Does everybody want to say what bike they have in mind, and then we discuss pros and cons to it, or
I've
what?
got two just to kind of like. There's variations of how it could be presented, I guess.
Okay.
And one of them is more of like intensive modifications, which even on my very accelerated drive home to make it here, I was thinking about. Essentially, it cost around the same for both
Okay.
of them.
Well, I don't think we need to put a budget on it, right?
No, but I mean, I think we're all kind of cheap asses.
I mean,
so
yeah, I'm
budget's
not. I
always,
wouldn't
like,
buy a $30,000 motorcycle, but okay. Before
what's
further
what's the
discussion-
criteria? What criteria did you two have in mind at least, and see if we align?
I was
there as
mostly
far as-
thinking of the discussion of most. That's in my mind. I was thinking, is there one bike, and then break it down to dependent upon there's so many people there's so many walks of life in the world of motorcycling. There's people that are just hardcore, cafe guys, or they are dual sport people, and I just kind of figured there would be an open dialogue about motorcycles and that sort of stuff. But if we were talking about building one, I could get into that too.
I'm not too concerned about the actual bike, but I do have one in mind. So I wouldn't mind hearing. I wouldn't mind hearing. Let's see what everybody's specific bike is, and then we discuss.
Well, how about we talk about what criteria were we putting this bike to in testing of?
Okay.
So, like, what does this bike that does everything? What criteria does it have to be good or decent at, but not? It can't be best at, of course.
Well, I thought about it the way, because by this point I know typically how I use a motorcycle and what I want out of it, and it's basically for me, it's got to be. What I found is the most important thing to me is it's got to be interesting enough that I'll keep riding it. If it's just boring and I'm just going to lose interest. I'm not going to care, no matter how good it is. It might be great at everything, but I'm not going to want to keep it. And it needs to be fairly comfortable. It needs to do 100 miles an hour if it needs to, but be comfortable cruising at 70 to 80 all day long on the freeway if I need to. It needs to have some sort of luggage, ideally removable, but built in, like
at least
hard
like
bag
an
mounts
option
or something, because I don't want to strap a backpack to it all the time or something. And I thought I had one more thing, and it needs to have at least okay suspension, and just to do everything okay, and brakes and like mechanical stuff. It's just got to be at least okay all around. Doesn't have to be perfect at everything, but I feel like those are most of my criteria. But the most important thing I've learned by having a lot of different bikes is that if it's got to be interesting enough. If it's not, doesn't keep my interest, then I just won't. It's not going to last.
Yeah. It's got to have some spirit that like you somewhat connect to.
And honestly, that might make it worse at some things, but if it keeps it interesting enough to keep riding, then it'll stick around. So
if anything, like this topic could also be what is there a bike you could marry?
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, she might not be the hottest chick in school, but she should put out and keep riding.
Well, I batted up higher than my batting average then.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. It might not be perfect, but you got to stick with it. So
yeah, I think my criteria has probably changed over the years. I think if you would have asked the 22-year-old me versus the 40-year-old me, I think I would have had a different idea just based on experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Now at 30 years of riding and 47 years old, I feel like I know exactly what I would want, because I know what I don't want to do. Like Evan said, I know the things that are deal breakers. And so, I think some of it all, it's just, kind of going back to what I said before, there's so much differentiation in people's lifestyle. Like think about like our friend Joey, like his
Is this with the 2-stroke?
No, that was Steve
No.
Gowing.
No, that's Steve.
But our buddy Joey loves to ride. He's one of our and the Sick Boys, but like he doesn't have the same aspirations as like Evan.
Or even like terrain in his area that would even be accessible.
That's
to
it.
him. Yeah.
Well, to somebody like any sort of off-road performance might not matter whatsoever, right? It's all about like street or highway cruising and comfort and stuff like that. And like I'd be willing to sacrifice some of that if I can ride a dirt road with it too, and not have to worry about taking out the bottom of the motor with a rock or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you guys ever see that movie? It's one of my favorite spots in the whole movie. A Long Way Round.
I've watched it. Well, especially before my cross country trip, I had watched it maybe 5 times, like all the way complete. Maybe within like 5 months prior to leaving too. Yeah. It was a huge motivator for me to really
I bought a KLR after that because I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Oh man, to think the KTM just totally blew it. Yeah. Totally blew
it. You're not gonna make it. Who says that? Come on. But there's a spot in there, like they basically think they in their minds they have the one bike, right? That's in their minds. That's the bike. And I love when I think they're in the middle of Mongolia.
Oh,
and
the
brakes go out or the subframe cracks.
They broke the frame. Yeah,
they have to buy that little 750.
That Russian bike. Yeah,
and they're in heaven because it's so light and those bikes were so heavy. And then they changed their whole tune. They all take turns riding it.
Yeah.
Fuck this stupid, heavy, ginormous.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, you had the bike,
right?
You had the best bike in the world.
You had the best bike ever.
Yeah,
and now you're just psyched on this little 750, which is hilarious.
What's really cool, and we could go on about Long Way Round for, I'm sure, the many episodes. But what's really cool about BMW after that is they fixed that weak point on the frame because of that. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember reading an article or maybe something of the sorts after that.
Right.
Yeah.
God, that was awesome. That was super cool.
What am I talking about? You guys turned me into a freaking BMW fanboy.
Come
what
on,
just
man.
came out of my mouth?
It's funny because along those lines, I went camping with these. I had like 2 or 3 buddies who were really into the big. They both had 1200 GSs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the full BMW, like, whatever the Motorrad kit was and helmets and I was on my 71/5 and I did have like the hard bags and a duffel and whatever, but we went into this like fairly remote forest down these single tracks and I actually had an easier time. I could keep my feet down. I could walk the bike. Now, if I was in mud, game over. But same with them. I mean, any bike sucks when you're in mud.
Yeah, they had the tires, but they also had the weight that
they had the weight.
Really,
too. And I was just like, I was zipping around these fields, and I was like, this is great. The /5 was awesome.
I can just picture you like zipping around, like.
I was like, they were like sweating, and it was funny. Yeah.
Well, the GSs are massive. I had my 1150 in the dirt multiple times, and it was like, God, that's a heavy bike.
Yeah.
Especially with bags on it and stuff. It's like, damn, that weighs a lot. Yeah. And mud, forget about it. I mean, oh my God. Yeah. Unless you have really gnarly tires on it, like you're totally screwed.
Yeah. One of the fun things about, we just came back from bike night, which was a little slow turnout, but sometimes we have pretty good turnouts. And one of my favorite
there was 2
things,
bikes there tonight. It was good. That's good turnout.
One of my favorite things on the busy nights is to see, like, a motorcycle is like, it's like a pair of pants or everybody dresses differently the way they like during that day. And your motorcycle is like an extension of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fun to see like what people choose. Like remember that time there was that guy, he had the CB 350 Cafe or something.
Yeah. And
he was like right out of that, like tobacco moto wear.
Yeah.
the super square.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy
Smoking a
is just,
pipe, perfect beard. Yeah,
big
exactly.
square glasses. I was
Yeah.
like, it was great.
Yeah, but then there's like a couple 6 foot tall dudes on those Royal Enfield Continentals, and dude had an Interceptor, and like there's all sorts of random stuff. There's there was a dude that had a really sweet Laverda, wasn't it? There a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of weeks ago. That thing was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
There's always, one of us has an Airhead there usually, and Billy's old Triumphs, and like there's always
Yeah.
all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's just neat that they all are motorcycles. They all have 2 wheels. They all have a motor, and yet they're just
Yeah.
all different.
Well, and some of those guys, I was talking to a guy last week when we were there, and he didn't have his bike there, but he was telling me he had a 1150 GS BMW that he bought brand new. And it must be, 2002, somewhere around there. And he's got 96,000 miles on it. He's the original owner. And he's like, I'm riding it to exactly 100,000 miles, and then I'm trading it in on something new.
Nice.
And that's just like, oh shit, that's rad.
That's
To have
great.
bought that new and put 100,000 miles on it, I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
That's legit. And I think a lot of those guys, at least in our group, a lot of us have multiple bikes because of the question. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I call bullshit on that. No one has
What?
multiple bikes because, like, this one doesn't do what I want to do that one time a year.
No, that's not
So I'm
true.
going to get another one that does that really well.
No, it's
you're
exactly
wrong.
why they have.
I absolutely do. And what you just said, and I can explain why. What you just said, I thought the exact same way. I could have said exactly what you just said if I still lived in San Diego. I would say the exact same thing. Living here now for a while and riding in different weather and off-road a lot and shit. No, absolutely. I want my XR650. I want my Moto Guzzi. I want my old BMW, and I want them all for very different things. So I totally disagree.
Yes. No,
but I was you before. I would have said exactly that.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. But I guess I was being a little bit more broad, and no one, because you don't need that other one. It's you.
We don't need any.
Exactly. What's better than one bike that's also the same thing than what's better than 5 bikes? Another one.
True. Okay, think about it like this. Can you cut something with those tiny scissors in a Swiss Army knife? Like if you had to, you know what I'm talking about? When you like fold out those like little tiny pair of scissors. Could you cut through a bunch of paper with those if you had to? Yes.
No, I'm agreeing.
Would you?
I'm agreeing.
Would you want to? Would you want your nice scissors?
Yes. No.
Does your Swiss Army knife
absolutely
have a tiny
agreeing with
toothpick
you.
inside of it?
Yeah.
Yes. Would you ever actually use it to put in your mouth? No.
I do think
My first Swiss Army knife was probably like elementary school, and I constantly used that toothpick.
Did you use the tiny scissors to cut stuff?
I tried to, even knowing, like
they always
looking
stuck.
back, it was probably just based purely on determination that like these are going to work because it's a Swiss Army knife.
The most useless.
your teacher's
tool.
like, Brady, cut faster. You're like, no, I'm just
Yeah.
going
No.
to use.
I'm using. They try and give him the school scissors. He's
Yeah.
like, no, I have no, Miss Smith. I have my own.
I had knives like growing up, like pocket knives and stuff growing up that I just like whittle with at like still in elementary school. And I would just store them at like school in my pop-up desk. It wasn't until
Knives?
yeah, I know.
I guess you could get
Not
away with that
anymore.
a long time ago. Yeah, not
Well,
anymore.
the thing
Oh,
is,
shit.
Brings
you
some
couldn't
throwing
anyways
stars to school.
then, but I didn't know like this is an inappropriate thing for school is to like have knives at school.
Yeah.
But I would sharpen my pencil with like my pocket knife. I just
Yeah.
thought it was
Sweet.
awesome.
Did you have a sweet
But-
Rambo knife with like the compass on the
big-
end?
Yeah, survival.
No,
knife with, like,
it's
matches. and
Oh
the-
my
No,
god!
matches.
Can we let's
Some
get back
string
on-
and some-
this is gonna go on for
paracord
so
and
long.
matches. Like a fire.
I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have taken us down this road. This is gonna go on way too long. Oh my!
Brady's out at recess, like building a TV with this
The magnifying glass starting fires.
Oh, shit.
Those were the best. The Rambo
Great, this
knife.
is important. Which direction is southeast? Hang on, let me check the bottom of my Rambo.
While you're
Check the
I
bottom
cut
of
my arm.
Rambo
Can you
knife.
sew my arm up?
Oh man.
Good stuff.
Okay, so back on topic. So my criteria, I was definitely thinking a lot more broad
Okay.
for like the average general person of what people use a motorcycle for. So for me, the criteria that I was sticking to was it is a platform that you're able to, say, commute on, a platform that you're also able to go off-road on, say like fire road, like no like crawling or
Right.
anything, like
Okay.
definitely not like a moto track or anything. And also a platform that would do well with, say, carving canyons, having fun, doing like ride type stuff, and also something that you are able to put kind of a personal touch on that could be cool and interesting or whatever. So
Okay.
tapping slightly into not necessarily custom world, but like modified world.
Yeah, modified.
Yeah.
That was
sense.
my criteria.
What do you mean? Okay, you say commuting. Does that include like freeway speeds or just
Yeah, so
around
that's
town?
commuting, like able to like say last 100 miles on the highway. So
Yeah.
able to
okay.
reach highway speeds at a reliable reliable distance.
Okay.
100 miles, I mean, not too many people commute 100 miles, but let's just say 20, 25.
Okay.
That
All
was
right,
my criteria.
Reasonable. Well, we're all in the ballpark then for the
Yeah.
same criteria.
All right, so you go
which
first,
makes
Brady.
sense. I think most people would have.
Okay,
the
well,
same
I have
criteria.
two, so
Yeah,
I'll
tell us
give the not surprising if anyone's listened to previous episodes, with a slight twist.
Go ahead. You go first.
Husqvarna 701 Enduro,
Okay.
not Supermoto.
I knew you were-
Enduro.
I knew you were gonna
Absolutely.
say-
Why not? Are you kidding me?
No, it's
Right
a
out of the
great
bag,
choice.
it already
Yeah.
does all those things. Just requires a wheel swap.
But okay, I kinda
Okay,
disagree,
and here's
but
this. So
but
I didn't
it's your
mention it
choice.
in the criteria before, but also as an added bonus, because it's an epic bike, it has a bonus of track days. So you could take just swapping out to, say, Supermoto wheels. You can take it to like Streets of Willow or like go-kart tracks where like Supermotos usually run on. And you
Okay.
can still have a blast. You're not going to be the best out there, but still have a blast and not want to trade in your bike for something that is designed like more so specifically for that. I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking. Egg or like peanut shell. Is that that's not a saying, is it?
Peanut shell?
Yeah, I don't
have
know.
no idea what.
Trust me.
Wait, explain
You
what
just
you were
started, you're a
thinking.
trendsetter.
In an
Explain-
eggshell, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. I'm
in
like,
an
what the hell are you trying to say?
in an
Hey guys,
eggshell,
in a peanut shell.
You're
in
gonna
an
get much in a
eggshell,
peanut
it's
shell.
not going to be so outside of what you're trying to do with that bike that you're
Yeah.
going to want to get another bike
Yeah.
that fits better into that specific category.
Okay.
That, I guess, in a peanut or
Yeah.
eggshell, it's
Yeah,
debatable.
some sort of shell. Yeah.
The criteria I was
Pistachio?
kind of envisioning.
A walnut. Just some type of shell. All right, no, that's fine.
That's good.
That is a rad bike. But I've never ridden one. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't even disagree because I've never ridden one, and you have. Like luggage wise, like practicality wise, from what I know about it, it seems like not a good fit. But I don't know that.
But like you were mentioning earlier, they do have what you can purchase, probably even from Husqvarna or KTM, options to add. Actually, I know they do. They have bag mounts also.
You said there's an Enduro model.
Yeah, so the 701 Enduro, not
Yeah,
the
look it up.
Supermoto, which specifically say for street use.
They literally
Supermoto
call
is
it the
amazing.
perfect combination on their website.
I did not know that.
That's the title
but
for the page for
I
Husqvarna.
honestly did not know
That's
that,
funny.
but I feel very validated right now.
It says with the ability to conquer urban environments and treacherous off-road terrain with equal composure. I mean,
So the reason for me
All right.
picking the Enduro model, not the Supermoto, is
mhm.
because it has the Enduro model has much more general suspension, valving, and spring.
Yeah, right.
It's very dirt bike though.
It's a
like
sweet
the
bike.
seat looks like you could not ride it very
Well,
far.
You haven't ridden it.
Yeah.
I'm getting very
No,
defensive right now.
you are, but I know you're into these.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, too, is everyone who has any newer Husky knows the first thing you change is the seat because the seats
Yeah.
are awful.
It's interesting how the gas tank is like embedded into the frame, so the seat kind of comes up over it.
So it's behind you. It's in that like
It's interesting.
Like the subframe
like
area.
rear fender.
Yeah.
Rear fender well, I guess.
That's crazy.
It's like a plastic gas tank.
You know what I want? I want you to have one of these. Again, I feel like you need another 701 in your life because you
Yeah.
talk about it like it's
I will.
God's gift to
I
motorcycles.
need
I
need to
one.
finish building my car first, and then.
All right, if I
then I'll
make
look
$1
into
million
it.
in the next year or two, I'm buying you one.
We're gonna make $1 million on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
and
don't
we're
hold
all
your
gonna-
breath, but
Well, we got
I'll see what I can do.
a lot of work to do.
I'll see what I can do for you. No, I like it. That's a good choice. That's cool. I think that's a good
You
one.
can still, yes, the suspension isn't going to be dialed for track use. For say like swapping to Supermoto wheels.
Yeah.
But you still will be able to eat up 600 sport bikes.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
And you
Let's
can
do it.
rip canyons and you can commute on it, no problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, my only question is in long trips, how reasonable is it? But that may not
See,
be the
that wasn't
biggest
a criteria
requirement
for me.
here. So right.
Yeah.
So
Not,
maybe
I
that
mean,
doesn't matter.
do you like 2% of motorcycle riders actually do long distance trips?
Yeah.
Where
it's
did
not
that
common.
statistic come from?
Actually from Roland Sands.
Can you cite a source for that? Because I just watched you say that.
No,
and it
I would
really looks
honestly-
like
I
you
would
pulled
agree.
that
I mean-
straight out of your ass.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
think-
I don't know where his criteria or his source came from, but honestly, Roland Sands said that.
Yeah.
Really?
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know of the 1,000. I'm just going to go blanket number, but
You're
let's say of
probably
the
right.
1,000 people that I know that ride, only 3 or 4 like to do, 7 to 8 day rides. Most of them just want to
Yeah.
go down
true.
to bike night or go
Mhm.
downtown or take a ride up the canyon or
Yeah.
they most like. I think so. I think 2% is probably right. I think that whole next level adventure when you want to camp, when you want to keep going. Like I
Mhm.
do think that's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
I mean, that's why they have was it Iron Butt Awards or Iron Ass Awards
Yeah,
or
like
whatever?
Iron Butt.
1,000
yeah.
miles in
Yeah.
24 hours.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually it. Kind of goes. I'm just going to jump topic a little bit. It kind of goes back to what you were talking
Oh,
about,
Jesus.
Evan. We're only
rein
at
'em in,
43
rein 'em
minutes.
in.
We're good. One of the things you said, Evan, early on was the bike manufacturers make so many different varieties, and I think in their mind it's really smart because there are so many people that there's so many there's so many different variations in this world of motorcycling. Some people just want to look cool on their Thruxton.
Yeah.
They want to just
Yeah, yeah.
ride downtown and everybody goes, look at that sweet Thruxton. Some guys want to ride an adventure bike, and so Triumph
I
makes an
haven't
adventure
heard
bike.
anyone
Somebody
say
wants
that in 10 years.
what's that?
Sweet Thruxton.
Sweet Thruxton.
Yeah, nobody said that since 2006.
Yeah, so I think anyway, that kind of just brings us back to that thing you brought up about there's so many, especially I think in a company like Triumph, they have
Yeah.
so many bikes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you go to a Triumph dealer,
They're all the same, just packaged differently.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
I mean, you go from the T100 to the 1200, adventure. It's unbelievable.
yeah.
It's like having multiple personality disorders to try to develop
Mhm.
all of those different styles. And then within one, just say the Bonneville line, Then they have the
all these
street
sub-models.
tracker, the cafe tracker, the this
Yeah,
and
the
the that,
bobber,
you know,
everything.
the bobber.
Yeah.
It's like
But see, with
incredible.
all of like just with like the Bonneville variation, well, let's just say the whatever regular Bonneville, and then they have the
Yeah.
Scrambler. They're the same bike, just packaged to do better at one thing than the other. So they're kind of either tilted just slightly one way or the
but
other.
you can also do anything any one of those is capable of, the others can do.
That's
I feel
it.
like, because they're
Yeah.
typically
Both
not
poorly.
major modifications. Well,
Yeah.
yes, but my point is they're mainly cosmetic modifications, right? Like it's pretty
No,
rare
there's
that it's
there's
like,
suspension.
some like have taller
and
suspension.
actually,
okay, I know, but we're not
I
talking
think-
about like total redesign of the
Right.
bike
You
here.
know,
We're talking
you
about,
are correct.
sure, maybe you bolted on, you know, a slightly taller shock or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's not
the motors are
massive
tuned
difference.
different. Also, I know that.
But what are we talking about? Like, I mean, come on. Yeah, like,
We're
are
talking
they?
about
No, I know, but I'm saying the margin is like so small. I just don't feel like this is why I was talking about. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how specific all these things are, and then it perpetuates this idea that like, oh, if you want to do this kind of riding, you have to have this super niche
no,
bike
I
to do it.
completely
And it's just like,
agree with that.
Dude, give me a break. You can be Brady and ride a fucking CB550 across the country, or you can ride a 25-year-old Harley to Mexico, like whatever.
Yeah,
Can you?
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all
You
a
can
matter
even
of,
ride that same Harley in dirt, which you do a lot of in Mexico.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's more a matter of like,
What can the rider endure?
Yeah.
yes, 100%. It's more a
Yeah.
matter of like, what are your limits, not the bike's limits.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
Typically,
All right. I'll steer us
Okay.
back. I'll go next. So,
right. Okay, go.
so my thought, and it's actually, I have ridden this bike, but I never owned one. And so, I in my mind,
Ninja 250.
it's exactly what it was. Wow. Are you in my brain right now?
I mean, you know,
What is
Are
going
you
on?
I know,
serious?
I know how
No,
you think.
not even
Oh
close.
my goodness!
Are you
I
serious?
thought I just had to put you in
No.
my prayers.
No. So
Does it all.
mine is actually is
And
because
there's
my
nothing wrong with the
criteria,
Ninja 250. I
Yeah,
just want to get
sure,
that out
that's
there.
good.
Sorry.
My criteria is has nothing to do with, I'm not ever going to do a track day. I do like to go smoking up the canyons. But I like to do, I want to do adventure riding. I want to take, a month, 2-month trips. I want to be able to be on the freeway if I had to and do comfortably
Mhm.
75, 80.
Yeah.
But I also want to be able to go up fire roads really easy and have it take hard luggage, have an upright riding position for my back,
Yeah.
things like that. And so, and then the weight is another big one. And so, whereas maybe 2 years ago, if you had asked me, I would have said probably the 1150 GS, which has been my go-to.
Mhm.
But now I think I would do the Teneri 700.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the-
Teneri 700. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
good
know-
choice.
I don't know that.
Yeah, that's the new Yamaha.
It's pretty rad.
It's
Oh,
about,
I have heard about this.
yeah, it's about like it's like a mid-weight dual sport.
It's just getting
you know?
insane reviews about being like just about the best adventure bike out
Yeah.
there.
When
That's
you
not
drop
massive.
that thing into 6th gear, you could do, you're at 4,200 RPMs at 80 miles an hour. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the first and second gear, you could crawl.
Where'd
like it
you
was-
ride one?
Mike Mosman had one.
Oh, he did.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd love to ride one of those. They
Yeah.
look awesome.
They had a bike similar to this, didn't they? It was.
Well, they have a
they've
Teneri
made the
1200.
Teneri 11 or 12 or whatever, their big one. They've made since 2010.
12,
or
yeah,
12
it's
or
a long
something.
time.
I want to say it like started with the V. It was like
Didn't you think of the
First-
V-Strom?
or
That's
V
a
Storm
Suzuki,
or
though.
V
Suzuki.
Yeah, it could be. Oh,
That-
okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of the V-Strom, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
different. That's a
So it looks very like
Different
Baja inspired or
it's like
Dakar.
Dakar,
Yeah.
like rally inspired bike.
Yeah.
They really have been getting just insane reviews. They're supposed to be
Yeah.
absolutely excellent motorcycle. I think it's a good choice. It's a sweet combo of like size, weight, motor, luggage,
Yeah.
crash protection. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like everything.
It's what
Yeah.
Honda should have done with their new Africa Twin.
Yeah, instead of
But-
being
'cause that thing is-
1,000.
Yeah,
The new-
it's
that's
a
pretty big,
monster. Yeah.
I still want one. So
I do too.
Yeah.
I love
They're
that.
so
Like,
rad.
Yeah, I
and
think
just
they're
like the
awesome.
history of just that
Yeah.
model.
I was gonna say that was actually my choice, but I've never ridden one, so then I decided not to choose it because
Mhm.
I feel like it doesn't count because I've never.
I feel like they
ridden
slightly missed the mark on it, but just for say that model and the history of it, you
Yeah.
can't slightly miss it. You have to nail it or be gobs better than
Yeah.
expected.
Well,
And honestly, I take a Triumph Tiger over a twin or a Africa Twin.
yeah, the Tigers are supposed to be great too.
They're-
I've never had one of those either.
They're I haven't had one, but I've ridden a buddy of mine's, and I was thoroughly impressed.
I feel like I have a controversial choice. Well, I don't know about controversial.
I thought you were going
Maybe
to
a
choose the
little bit.
KLR's 650.
No. Too underpowered. I do really like them, but it's not a bike I did
Yeah.
live with one every day for a while. It's a great bike.
I can
But
see that. Yeah.
That would not be my choice now that I've had lots of other motorcycles. There's too many better options.
Mhm.
Okay. I tried to go cheap because I was thinking like my first thought was 1150 GS like Max. Like I loved mine. It was great, but it misses the mark on being interesting. So I thought I loved it. It was a great bike. It checked every single box for comfortable speed, power, suspension, brakes, like everything was okay. Luggage, reliable, like everything, but it was just kind of boring. Like, honestly, I never felt like it was a super exciting bike to ride. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to challenge this a little more and like make it something cheap. So I want like the best all around bike to do everything, but it also has to be really cheap. So then I thought,
I like this.
okay,
Zach
So-
or Max, I'm sorry, you were spot on as far as we'd all have very, very different.
yeah, I feel like nobody's going to agree with this, but I put a lot of miles on one of these and I think like shit, if I could think of the one bike I've had that really just like did everything, it would be my BMW K100.
K100, the
Yeah.
dragon,
Oh,
The purple dragon.
the purple dragon.
honestly,
that-
one of
that
the most
bike-
underestimated BMW bikes.
That
ever.
bike
100%.
is just lore to me because even your wife talks about how much.
Well,
she
Whitney loved it. It was
dragon.
my favorite bike that I've ever had. Did I know you when I had the purple dragon? I don't remember.
No, I heard stories of it.
All right,
Dude,
Evan's homework,
it was
folks. And Evan's homework,
legendary.
he's gonna
I'll post pictures
post
of
a
it.
picture on Instagram because
I bought it for nothing. It was like $1,500, and it was a silver. It was 80 something K100 flying brick with. It was all silver with a purple dragon like airbrushed, purple and pink dragon airbrush from the side covers all the way up to the front of the gas tank on both sides, and then it had a dragon laser etched into the windscreen.
No way.
And it was so sweet.
it's the
everywhere.
motorcycle version of your 70s van.
totally.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I would totally be on the freeway cruising with that thing and somebody would pass me and then slow down to like back up so they could look at it again because it had this massive dragon down the side of it.
Yeah.
So what that engine display or the layout is that like it's like a lay down straight 6, right?
It's
Or
four
like
cylinder.
It's an inline 4. The
Inline
100 is a
4.
4. And I
thought
almost
they were
said a K.
6-cylinder. Oh no!
I almost
No,
said
you're right, you're right.
K75 because the 750 was a 3-cylinder and it was significantly smaller and lighter than
Yeah,
the
I had one.
100 was.
I had a K75C.
I thought it was underpowered. I had one and I didn't like it as much. The K100 weighed more, but the power was worth it. It was significantly faster.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys doing a lot of cool stuff with K bikes right now.
They cost nothing. Like you said, they're totally underrated. They never, for whatever reason, like got the right reputation, and they're kind of weird, but they're super reliable, super comfortable, good suspension, good brakes, luggage. I took mine off road all the time. I beat the crap out of that thing.
Oh, I
'cause it
could
was worth
easily see
nothing.
that being.
And I had
doable.
the only problem I had on it was every time Whitney rode with me a ton when I had that bike. And when we rode for a while with 2 people on it, it pinched the rear brake line and the rear brake would go out entirely every single time. So other than losing the rear brake,
Just a
was
intermittent
great.
line lock.
yeah, dude, every time I found it, I never fixed it. I found what was happening, but
The only thing, because I had an opportunity to buy one of them, the only thing that really scared me at least at that time, and honestly still to this day, is the amount of electronics that were mashed
It's excessive
into that bike.
and it's 80s electronics.
Exactly.
But it's well proven, reliable. It's the Bosch L Jetronic or whatever, a fuel injection
Mhm.
system, which is super simple, insanely bulletproof, not very many parts to fail, and that's about it. The only other downside, and I had this happen on mine, is they run a lot of the interlock shit, like the neutral light and clutch and all this stuff through the gauge cluster, and all that stuff has to be set correctly to allow it to start, and the
Mhm.
gauge clusters fail, and that happened on mine. I had to like tear it apart, and I bypassed a bunch of crap on it when that happened. But so yeah, the electronics are
It's like
kind of
pre-can.
a downside. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
way pre-can bus stuff.
Well, that had the oil or the fuel filter inside the gas tank too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
would-
a lot of, I mean, most
because I
fuel
think the
filters
fuel
are-
pump, it was part of the fuel pump, which was inside the gas
Inside
tank.
the gas
Oh,
tank.
Pretty
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
So
And,
when like the lines failed and stuff.
So
it was
it's
kinda-
like the fuel pump was pretty much like pressurizing the tank rather than like,
Yeah, correct.
yeah.
And they had ABS. I don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
some
that's
did.
I don't
terrifying.
think mine did, but the ABS was notorious for
Yeah.
being horrible on those.
Yeah.
Like really problematic. Mine,
Yeah.
my 100 did not.
You know what I was
Evan-
going to say? Oh, go ahead.
Evan, I was just gonna say I'm proud of you for that selection.
Oh, good.
I don't
thanks.
disagree.
I'm
on
happy
it.
with it.
Yeah.
If I didn't factor in budget, I wouldn't choose that. That's my like overall choice to do everything, and then I added the constraint of budget, and then
Mm-hmm.
that checks all the boxes for me.
Mine with modifications, the Husky 701 Enduro, say including rim and tire swap, wheel swap, let's just say, with
Okay.
hard bags. Yeah, like I'm up there, and I mean you could do it cheaper, but just say like manufacturer options or parts, like that's like close to like 20
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. that'll
after
add up
taxes
fast.
new. But granted, like let's just say you bought it used, which you should anyways, you're still in like close to 10 to 12 grand, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yep. What was your other choice? You said you had a second one or something.
So if anyone remembers, I mentioned like something that you could take to shows and feel kind of cool and like built. Like it's like I didn't actually go into that specifically, but something that you built that could do all things.
Okay.
And related to, say, my decision with the Husky. Surprisingly, maybe not surprising, was a honestly like a solid mount or rubber mount Sportster, preferably carbureted.
Oh yeah, I get behind that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because you see what they're doing now, especially with like not only like the Hooligan like flat track series, but also now jumping into like desert racing. Like they have a category now for it's not specific to Harleys, but like the Mint 400, they have a category for V twins. But a lot of them are, of course, Harley Sportsters. But the reason why I was kind of debating or kind of second guessing it is because you're going to put, say, let's just say you buy the donor bike for, I don't know, what's a piece of shit sports are going for these days? Like $6,000.
No.
No, not
2,500.
for a Evolution motor sporty.
Yeah. 25 all day.
$3 grand maybe.
Not in San Diego.
Oh, yeah. Out
Yeah.
here for sure.
Everyone thinks that it's gold. Like let's
Really?
just say $5,000 for
What for a
Oh,
90s era?
are
For a
you
90s
kidding me?
883? What?
Change your zip code in Craigslist or offer up to
Wow.
Southern
Wow,
California.
no way.
No, it's absolutely insane.
Evan, there's our next meal ticket.
Yes,
Yeah,
five
yeah,
Sportsters
exactly.
Buy a
in
bunch of
San Diego.
$3,000 sporties and drive them out to California.
Yeah, dude, we could buy
Oh,
sporties all day long
absolutely.
for $3 grand.
So taking that platform, putting suspension on it, front end conversion if you want, say more like an enduro style
Yeah.
or moto style, I'd say.
Dude, you're not lying.
I
What
know,
in
I
the
told you.
world?
Yeah.
Go to San Diego Craigslist. Like the cheapest Sportster is $6,500 for
Yeah.
an 05.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a
What
rubber
in the-
mount, which
Dude.
which most people don't even want.
Here's a 97 883 in Palm Desert for $3,000.
Yeah, but it's an 883.
So, okay.
Yeah,
There's a
you're spending
2000
another
883 for
$1,500
$4,150.
to do a 1,200 conversion.
Jeez, a 96 for 4,300 in Calabasas.
Yeah, and it's probably
Wow. Okay, yeah,
ripped
man,
apart.
that's crazy.
But after all these modifications, one, it's either your labor or another person's labor costs are involved to turn it
Yeah.
somewhat into like a desert sled, like an older like Triumph desert sled kind
But
of.
then you're into a 10 grand Sportster, and it's
Exactly.
who wins?
That's what I'm saying. Like 10 to 12 grand. That's not out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
yeah.
And end of the day, you have a sloppy, very loose frame that highway speeds are going to be almost unrideable.
Yeah.
And it doesn't turn well, and it's underpowered, heavy as shit.
Yeah.
But you can still do all the things that I said previously, minus like track days.
Yeah.
But you can go to
I
shows
like
and
the
people
idea.
will think
Yeah.
it's cool. And it's
Well-
like you have pride of like I built
Right.
this, which
Yeah.
I'm not undermining at all.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna close out. We're at an hour, but I was gonna close out by saying, even though like that's my choice, that would be the one bike.
Yeah.
I would still honestly, I would say 99% sure I would never buy that bike. I would still rather ride my 1973 R75.5, and I will take it down the dirt road, and I will take it. And I just think there's more, just because that's probably in my mind, the Tenere 700 could be the bike that would do it all. It doesn't actually mean that that's the bike I would want to, I think,
Right.
as I've gotten older,
Well, it's because you don't want to be limited to one bike either.
Well, and that, but I've
like-
also realized, and Brady said it best too, is like, the one bike, it just kind of comes from your heart. Like you can do it on whatever you want. You can make the long distance trips.
Well, I think that's the thing to always keep in mind, and why, if you only have one bike, don't limit yourself to like what you can do with it, because you can do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yeah. Exactly. You can
So-
take it across the country if you
Well,
want.
and I think the
even
thing
though it's not built for
to
it.
always remember is like, is that bike specifically designed for some like really specific thing you're thinking about doing with it? No, but neither were the bikes in the 60s. These guys
Yeah,
doing all sorts of crazy shit
exactly.
on it. It didn't stop them. So,
Mhm.
so keep that in mind, I think. So,
And
anyways.
if anything, buy a 60s or 70s Triumph and do whatever you want with it, because they did it too.
that's the best recommendation we can make is buy a 60s truck.
My internet totally dropped and
Yeah,
restarted.
no, you're back in.
Oh, it's all right. We carried on. It was a pretty flawless
That's great.
transition. So.
Yeah, totally fine.
Okay. All right.
In conclusion, what did we actually even figure out through this? Because
Well, I think as you started it, the conclusion is there is no answer.
yeah,
To
well, I
this.
think Max was on to something, and then his internet cut out. So
Oh, he actually had the answer, but
Yeah,
it's lost.
exactly.
What I was going to say was the one bike, I really think the one bike just comes, this sounds really cheesy, like I should be on top of a mountain in a robe, but the one bike comes like from your heart. Like you can, if you have the heart, you can make any bike, be your bike. You can,
Yeah,
you can
confirm.
ride a
That's easy
CB
as fuck.
550 to New York. You can make it work. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I certainly I have enjoyed having multiple bikes.
mm,
And when it's vintage bike night, ride my BMW down there and hang out in my leather jacket. And then when we take a long 6-day trip,
Yeah.
but we did the same 6 to or 8-day trip on old vintage Dynas. So it's like we
Yeah.
did it with heart then too,
But those didn't sacrifice too much, really, for
No.
that kind of trip.
But if we would have rode GSs, it would have been a hell of a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Yeah, definitely comfortable.
Well, here's a question: is the desire or feeling of wanting a bike that does everything that, say, just even if it's a tight category, but pretty separate conditions, do you want a bike that does all or both or whatever it may be well, but not best? Do you
Right.
want that?
No,
Or do you want a bike that does what you're most interested in, the most what you're going to use it for, and then experience, say, some of those other avenues that you're curious about or have some interest in, and just see how it does and have fun with it, even though it doesn't do it well. Say it does it terribly. But I've found in my history that taking a bike that is not meant to do one thing and doing it, it's not going to do it well, but
it can be way more fun.
Be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does the perfect bike exist, or the one bike to rule them all? No, absolutely not. But doesn't mean that you can't take the bike that you have or the bike that you want and just do those things regardless.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that kind of falls within like kind of the original view of motorcycle riders, is that outlaw mentality.
Yeah.
Where, I'm breaking the rules. Say even just now with what we're talking about, breaking the rules of what this bike is supposed to do and not supposed to do, I'm going to do it anyways and have fun with it.
Have a blast.
Yeah.
Amen.
I think honestly that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
a great wrap up. It's perfect.
But make sure you've got a little bit of some savings when you break some shit too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because that'll happen.
All right.
Nice. All right. I like it. All right. Well, that was one bike to rule them all. And thanks for checking out All Wheels Podcast. And let's see what else. Get a hold of us at contact@allwheelspodcast.com and check out our website at the same place. And Instagram is All Wheels Podcast. And we'll be back next week. I think maybe we'll have a guest next week. We'll see, but hopefully.
Yeah. If we don't get Matt, I'm going to line up Chantel. So
yeah, cool. So hopefully we'll have somebody else on to talk with next week. But yeah, we'll see you then. So see you next week.
All right. Good night.
Thank you.
Feeling